injuries, depression, anxiety, erosion of self-esteem, loss of productivity, unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, and even death. The harm done to individual women is bad, but the impacts go further, tearing the very fabric of families, communities, economies, and nations. Ladies and gentlemen, women empowerment is a national priority in Uganda, as exhibited by the different legislations in place and Uganda's international obligations. However, achievements for gender equality and women's empowerment will be negated if we all allow violence against women and girls to persist. It is therefore our commitment and goal to ensure that gender-based violence is eliminated in all forms. During Uganda's recent third universal periodic review, Uganda committed eradicating sexual gender-based violence through giving financial resources to programs intended to combat gender-based violence and to increase budget allocations and investments for early childhood development. The country further committed to expedite the adoption of the national gender policy as well as enhance efforts to combat all forms of gender-based violence, including domestic and sexual violence. Uganda also committed to take measures to ease to justice for victims of sexual and gender-based violence and to continue implementing national initiatives, policies and plans to ensure gender equality, education for girls, to reduce the incidences of teenage pregnancies. Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDG 5, calls on states to achieve gender equality and empowering all women and girls. This requires elimination of all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual and other types of exploitation. It also requires elimination of all harmful practices such as child early and forced marriages, female genital mutilation, and indeed affirm a culture of zero tolerance for violence against women. Ladies and gentlemen, the above commitments and aspirations all sound very impressive. However, they can only be implemented if there is deliberate efforts and commitment to eradicate sexual gender violence from our homes, communities, and country. It is time to reflect on the suffering of millions of women, including some seated here today. But most importantly, it is time to find solutions to this century-old problem. As stakeholders with a common goal, we need to strengthen our advocacy and civil education programs at all levels in order to end violence against women and girls. It is therefore our hope that this symposium will open up the much-needed dialogue on building synergies and practical synergies to eliminate sexual gender-based violence. As a way of concluding, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to re-echo our sincere gratitude to the UN family in Uganda and the Embassy of Sweden for partnering with the Uganda Human Rights Commission to support this symposium. Special thanks go to the organizing committee and service providers for putting the event together. I think really it doesn't do any harm if we can all together clap for the UN family and the Embassy of Sweden. Thank you for listening to me. This is just on my own, nothing to do with the speech that I've just finished, just an appeal to the UN family. Well, I would like to take the opportunity to request from the UN family, if possible, to support the Commission, to build more capacity in mediation. Of course, I know there are some cases like rape and all those ones which, you know, but mediation, if we can start with that. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, and I wish you a very healthy and successful deliberations today.
Another round of applause to the chairperson, Uganda Human Rights Commission. They are the reason we're here. They put this together with the United Nations in Uganda. She spoke about end of the 16 days of activism and the Human Rights Day, of course, which falls on 10th, which is tomorrow. But being a weekend, we pulled it forward to have the occasion today. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll note that in the year 2020, in the year 2021, there were up to 14,570 cases of defilement reported. That's a huge number. And that's the reason we're here to discuss and see how we bring this to a close. Next up, allow me take the honor to invite our next speaker, who is the country representative, Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Mr. Julien Atakla Ainon. I know he's going to be represented here by Ms. Kabila Mbuton to speak on behalf of Mr. Atakla Ainon. And we welcome Mr. Atakla Ainon to Uganda. A round of applause to him, please.
Representative of the Chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, the Honorable Chairperson of the Equal Opportunities Commission, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and Heads of Missions, the UN Resident Coordinator, Heads of UN agencies, Honorable Justices of the Courts of Uganda, representatives of the justice, law and other sector, representatives of the ministries, departments and agencies, representatives of the civil society, private sector, academia, traditional and religious leaders, and the media, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I bring you the sincere apologies of our country representative who would have loved to deliver these remarks in person, but due to other exigencies beyond our control, requested me to do this on his behalf. It is with great pleasure that I address you this morning on behalf of the country representative of the United Nations Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights. I am delighted to be at this symposium on sexual and gender-based violence in Uganda, marking not only the conclusion of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, but also the commemoration of the International Human Rights Day. The symposium is organized as part of this commemoration of Human Rights Day, which is the 10th of